Bitcoin ETFs, Wall Street's trap. Imagine this. You wake up one morning, check the news, and every financial outlet is celebrating Bitcoin ETFs. Headlines shouting about adoption, legitimacy, mainstream acceptance. It feels like the big moment Bitcoiners have been waiting for. But what if I told you the truth is the exact opposite? Because ETFs are not about adoption. They're about control. They're about trapping Bitcoin inside Wall Street's custody, a cage disguised as progress. Think about what made Bitcoin revolutionary in the first place. It wasn't just a number on a screen. It was ownership, self-custody, the ability to hold value outside of banks, governments, and middlemen. But Wall Street hates that idea. They can't profit from it. They can't skim fees from it. They can't monitor or freeze it. So instead, they dress up their plan in shiny marketing. ETFs equal adoption. But adoption for who? Let's take a step back. In the early days, when you bought Bitcoin, you held the keys. You took responsibility. You held freedom in your hands. No permission needed, no banker's approval, no broker standing between you and your wealth. But now imagine millions of people buying Bitcoin through ETFs. They never see the keys. They never touch the blockchain. They don't even know if the Bitcoin exists. Because inside the ETF, the Bitcoin doesn't belong to you. It belongs to Wall Street's custodians, massive institutions that hold the coins on their terms, not yours. That's not adoption. That's entrapment. That's the system pulling Bitcoin back into the very walls it was designed to escape. Here's the trick. Wall Street knows people crave convenience. They know many investors don't want to learn about wallets, private keys, or cold storage. So they dangle an easy button. Click buy on your brokerage account, and suddenly you own Bitcoin. Or do you? Ask yourself this. If you don't hold the keys, if you can't move the Bitcoin, if you can't verify it on the blockchain, do you actually own it, or do you just own a promise? Promises are what Wall Street is built on. Paper gold, paper silver, paper everything, and now paper Bitcoin. Do you see the pattern? For decades, hard assets have been financialized, stripped of their power and transformed into instruments controlled by Wall Street. Gold was once money, but Wall Street turned it into ETFs and futures. Paper contracts piled on top of each other until most people don't own gold. They own paper promises of gold. And what happened? The price stayed suppressed. The power of gold was muted, and control shifted back to the same institutions it was supposed to challenge. Now it's Bitcoin's turn. Wall Street isn't stupid. They know they can't stop Bitcoin outright, but they can contain it, dilute it, trap it in their custody. And here's the chilling part. The more Bitcoin flows into ETFs, the less Bitcoin is in circulation. The less people learn about self-custody. The less people actually interact with the network. Soon, Bitcoin starts to look like just another Wall Street ticker symbol, something you buy, trade, and forget, stripped of its soul, its power, its purpose. But Bitcoin was never meant to be a Wall Street product. It was meant to be money for the people. Money you can hold, money you can move, money that doesn't need permission. Imagine if the majority of Bitcoin ends up inside a handful of custodians. BlackRock, Fidelity, Vanguard, the same giants that already control most of the stock market. What happens then? They become the gatekeepers. They vote on governance indirectly through sheer control of the supply. They decide who gets access. And here's the quiet part nobody says out loud. When your Bitcoin is in an ETF, regulators can freeze it, courts can seize it, governments can dictate terms. Because it's not in your hands, it's in theirs. So is this adoption, or is it capture? This is why self-custody matters. Not because it's cool or edgy, but because it's the only way to preserve what Bitcoin truly is. Every time you hold your own keys, you're saying no to Wall Street's trap. You're keeping Bitcoin outside the cage. But make no mistake, the cage will keep growing. Wall Street will market ETFs as the safe, easy, legitimate way to invest. They'll drown out the voices warning against it. They'll say, look, mainstream adoption is here, while silently building their custody empire behind the scenes. And millions will fall for it, thinking they own Bitcoin, when in reality, they own nothing more than an IOU. But you, listening right now, have the hidden knowledge most people don't. You understand that Bitcoin ETFs are not adoption, they're assimilation. They're Bitcoin being absorbed into the very machine it was meant to disrupt. And here's the story history tells us. Once assets are trapped inside Wall Street, they rarely escape. Gold never broke free. Silver never broke free. Commodities were caged. And now Bitcoin stands at the same crossroads. Will it be remembered as freedom money? Or will it become just another Wall Street product collecting dust in custody vaults? The answer depends on us. On whether we choose to hold our own keys, whether we teach others what Bitcoin really is, whether we resist the illusion of easy adoption. Because adoption without freedom is not adoption, it's capture. So the next time you see a headline celebrating Bitcoin ETFs, remember what's really happening. Wall Street isn't celebrating freedom, they're celebrating control. They don't want you to hold Bitcoin, they want to hold it for you, because when they hold it, you're no longer free. But Bitcoin gives us a choice. It always has. We can choose to play their game, trapped in their custody, or we can choose to take responsibility and hold real Bitcoin. The system wants you to believe ETFs equal adoption, but you now know the deeper truth. Adoption without custody is a mirage, a trap, a trick designed to pull Bitcoin back into the cage. But if enough of us resist, if enough of us hold the keys, Bitcoin remains unstoppable. This isn't just about investing, it's about freedom, sovereignty, and the future of money itself. Don't give that up for the illusion of convenience. Don't hand your freedom back to the very system Bitcoin was built to escape. Remember this, Wall Street doesn't want you to understand what I just told you. But now you do, and that makes you dangerous. If you want more hidden truths about Bitcoin, subscribe, share this video, and help spread knowledge they don't want you to have. Because the fight for Bitcoin's soul is just beginning.